And ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to this very important segment. People are getting ready and everyone's got itchy feet. They all want to be traveling and we all would like to go. With that, we'd like to welcome you to episode number 23 of the travel updates with Tanvi Goel of AusIndia Travels. Tanvi, once again, welcome to your 23rd episode.
Thank you so much, Umesh. Thank you for giving us this wonderful platform and opportunity to share, the travel updates with everyone. And thank you to all of you for pouring such love and support and asking so many questions. So today we have added a lot more things as well, which we'll go through with you in a while. So before we go ahead, guys, I would like to inform you all that any information we share today is general information only. Please keep checking all latest rules and regulations because situation may change individual to individual and they may change anytime as well.
And of course, as they do, it's always good to keep an update. We've had the pandemic to deal with and now the floods as well, so there could be some changes there as well. So Tanvi, moving on, what are the main updates for this week?
Okay, so Umesh, like we just mentioned about flood, I would also like to read this kind of warning from New South Wales Transport Office as well. So basically, guys, with the current weather condition affecting roads and public transport all across Greater Sydney, New South Wales Transport Office is urging everyone to please avoid unnecessary travel, particularly in flood affecting areas. Some busway services already started in Perth, Blacktown and surrounding areas from 24th just yesterday. They started, but there are some places which are still flooding and not operating. So please check that and whichever routes you are going. From last few weeks, we are really encouraging you all to go on a road trips and everywhere in Sydney and all that as well. So please be excited. There is nothing wrong about it, but we have to definitely go as per the guidelines, as per the current status as well. So you might like to avoid it for this week or a couple of weeks, and then everything is definitely back on track. So guys, next up, I want to go through with you the travel restrictions and rules state-wise in Australia. I have received so many messages, in fact, getting a lot of calls every day as well. People asking, okay, now what I need to do if I'm going to different cities. And since, like we discussed last time as well, now people are coming back from India to Australia as well. In fact, we have those options and they get confused as well. Where, wherever our flight lands, what all we need to do. So let me just go through with you that quickly. So first one is South Australia. So South Australia borders is open to all the states. All travelers must complete a cross-border travel registration. So you can go get all these details on their website, that's South Australia Government Travel Advice. Just check that. But don't forget to do the cross-border travel registration. So that one for South Australia. Next one up is for Queensland. So Queensland border is open to all the states without a border declaration. To learn more about it, you can go to the Queensland Government Travel Advice. Just one more update is Queensland also downgraded Western Australia to the Victoria level now. So that's in a low category as well. And there is no more quarantine required in Queensland. Next one is Western Australia. So travelers who have arrived in Western Australia or coming from Queensland since March 10, who visited any affected location, should get tested immediately and quarantined. Anyone who have arrived in Western Australia from New South Wales since March 13 and also visited any affected location should get tested and quarantined as well. Borders are open to all the states in Western Australia. And if you're coming to Western Australia, please apply G2G pass declaration. That's also if you are coming from different states or different countries. You can also check all the up-to-date information on Western Australia Government Travel Advice. Next up is New South Wales. So borders are open to travelers from all other states in New South Wales. And there is no pass required basically, and you can check further restrictions on Government Travel Advice page. Next is Northern Territory. So borders in Northern Territory is open to all the states without quarantine. Travelers must complete a border entry form. So that's very important if you're going to Northern Territory. And also please keep checking their current restrictions and rules on anti-government travel advice. Next is Australian Capital Territory. So borders are open to all the people from all the states going to Australian Capital Territory. Next one up is Tasmania. So Tasmania borders are open to all states without quarantine now. And all travelers must register travel via TAS e-travel systems. That's very, very important. Doesn't matter whether you again going from state or coming from overseas. Next up is Victoria. That's the last one. Victoria borders are also open to all travelers from all the states. And anyone wishing to enter Victoria must apply for a travel permit. That includes the residents returning home as well. So guys, you might see that, most of the states really want some declaration, some form of, the travel permit or forms. So whenever you go to any states, make sure you're checking all that, because if you don't fill their form or the required thing, they might deny entry to that state as well. In fact, airlines won't let you board flight anyway. So please check these rules and regulations. Next up, I want to tell you about New Zealand. So I think there are many of you keep asking. In fact, I receive calls every other day asking, oh my God, when are we gonna travel to New Zealand? So guys, not really very good news, because there was a meeting happened just on Monday, and New Zealand Prime Minister dashes the hope to many Australians on Monday that, she's not going to rush to open the Tasman travel bubble. They would really want to think about it a lot more. And they are planning to announce some form of other notification on April 6th. So we have to really think about it. Just within a couple of weeks, we probably would have good news, and maybe New Zealand may open. But let me just read out a few more things what Prime Minister said, New Zealand Prime Minister said. So she said, our views, rather than trying to work through a solution that sees all the Australia and New Zealand, that we can work through an arrangement. So let's see, just work on some solutions. So if both the sides are a bit safe and things keep moving, it's not like, we start and it stops. She also said that, so there may be occasions when we take precautionary approach, and for a short period of time, they may cease the travel as well for some particular states. And now Australia, what's the Australia turn on that? So Australia has lifted its international travel ban to allow travel to New Zealand, paving the way for the next stage of trans-Tasman travel bubble. So Australia has really opened everything for that. And if you know that Australia started travel ban 12 months ago, and now everyone leaving the country needs to take the exemption, but that exemption has been removed for New Zealand already in the next stage, so you don't need it. And the federal government has also made changes to its emergency biosecurity laws that will allow people to leave Australia to New Zealand once the New Zealand makes a decision whenever the quarantine-free access they give to the Australian travelers, but there is no problem from Australian side. It's now just a turn New Zealand. Once they open it, everything is all good to go, and we are hoping that from in 2 weeks New Zealand going to open. So let's just fly and try and pack because since it's going to start. So at the same time, we heard some news from Air New Zealand as well, that airlines, they said they're going to add Hobart as its 10th Australian destination, with 2 weekly non-stop Auckland flight services to commence once quarantine-free travel up and running. The route will be Hobart's first international destination, with tickets for the year and around A320's main aircraft they are planning to take there when the borders are open. So people, those who are in Tasmania, Hobart, you will have option to fly straight to New Zealand just when border opens. So guys, I also want to just touch base on what we discussed last week. That was something called Our Ticket to Recovery. So if you remember, I discussed with you that the Australian government came up with a big scheme where you're going to get a 50% airfare, for around 3 to 4 months from 1st April onwards till 31st of July. And they have included 13 destinations in that. So I could see that there are so many, it's an overwhelming response from many of you already. And people are just waiting for 1st April and also started packing up as well and thinking where to go. So that's really amazing, guys. And I think just keep it up, keep it up, that really excitement, and keep planning. I think they keep adding some more destinations as well. And I think Darwin is already added in that list. So yeah. Just happy days. You're going to have really some amazing airfares and amazing deals coming up. So next up, guys, I want to tell you about Kakadu National Park. If you remember, like 2-3 weeks back, I touched a little bit on that they're planning to upgrade, and they got some more updates on that. And why this update came is just because government also added Darwin in that list. So now you can go to Darwin, you can really visit the Kakadu National Park, and they are right now undergoing some upgrades as well as per the government plan, and they will still you have access to more attractions that will be alongside a visitor facility reinforcements, and you will have so many amazing spectacular landscapes over there as well. So they are promoting at this stage and making a lot of changes, plus you're going to have 50% airfare, so that may be in one of your list over there. And also they got Corpin George to the Spirit of Kakadu, that's called like a 4-wheel drive adventure tours, they call it. So you might take that option as well, so you might think about that. So guys, also I got a few messages from some people in last week, those who were asking about the hiking places, since the winter is approaching, and they want to know that what is the place and most common and most famous place in April especially where you can go and hike. And I said, okay, that's really a wonderful idea. I was just going through the list and I thought, DK, we might add that to this segment as well. So let me just go through with you. So as Australia is always a walker's paradise, but there is a track which is highly seasonal. So in this particular month, in April, Blue Mountain National Park, New South Wales, is one of the really amazing place called for hiking in April. Because of flooding, you might see that I know some places track that, but still in the next couple of months should be okay. So Blue Mountain, basically cooler days, they have less rains in April, they have splashes of crimson foliage, and all around autumn it's really perfect time to visit Blue Mountains. They have some very drizzling variety of tracks, includes also a wheelchair assistance for our older parents, and they have got the region's most famous rock formations. They have really amazing hikes to the valley floor. You might go there. And second one is also in New South Wales, which is also one of the very famous trekking place in April. That's called Green Bully Track. That's in New South Wales as well. So the series of refurnished cattleman huts they have means hikers don't have to carry their tents for around 65 kilometers trail. They have fast fun-filled gorges. They have tumbling waterfalls. They have heritage listed Godwina rainforest over there. Northern Tablelands, and though there are so many amazing places where you can really go and hike nicely. So I thought I'll just share with you that these are two amazing places where you can hike in April. Next up, guys, I want to tell you about a new update from Papua New Guinea. So Australian government has suspended all the outgoing flights to Papua New Guinea at this stage as the country battles a rapid rise in COVID-19 transmissions. So the only exception to the rule will be operating for the humanitarian services. Other than that, all the outgoing flights will be suspended. So if you have planned to go to Papua New Guinea, I know some of you probably have planned. So please check with the airlines or wherever you have booked. You might like to reschedule it and see how they are. Guys, I have one update from Scoot Airlines as well. Maybe it's been a while, you haven't heard much for Scoot Airlines, but Scoot Airlines is doing something at the back as well, and they're basically trialing 2 new digital solutions for COVID-19 pre-departure tests and more seamless process when verifying their test result at the check-in. So from 17 March onwards, just few weeks back, they started one online portal which will allow all the customers departing on flights from Singapore, from China, Hong Kong, and Indonesia to book pre-departure test appointments with the recognized and accredited partner clinics. And these results will be available in around 36 hours in a digital form. And in fact, you can access all the details on a Scoot website as well, and you can pre-book it and check it during your application also when you are booking your tickets. So this is going to be really amazing that you don't have to even send to the airlines because they can really track it with that application, and it will be showing automatically on your ticket, on your booking process. So that's really amazing. So these are the main updates for this week at this stage, and I'll be telling you about the flight shortly. Amazing.
And thank you very much. You've taken my travel buds on a world tour. So, it got me excited. So, it's wonderful to see that people many times worry about, all this is happening, there's nothing much what we can do. But if you look at all these kind of things, so there's so much more. You just need to look beyond a little bit, think outside the square, and there's so much that can be done. So thank you so much for sharing those information. So, if you're flying out of Brisbane, what are the options at this point in time?
Okay, so Meiji, if anyone wants to fly from Brisbane, guys, basically you have two options. Either you can take flights via Melbourne or Sydney. So we pretty much connected all the charters flying from Sydney or Melbourne, and we are connecting them from Brisbane as well, which means there'll be a one domestic flight from here. And to your surprise, we are putting every passenger flying from Brisbane on particular day in one flight, which means in most cases you will have some companions are going with you. So next flight which you can have from Brisbane and connecting to one of the charters are 10th of April, 15th of April, 22nd of April, and 29th of April. And if you like to go in Emirates Flights, guys, there are Emirates Flights available as well. There are like 2 to 3 flights available every week. However, there is only one flight on Fridays going with one stop. Generally, they are longer stop options, and that's what we recommend as well, because shorter stop options generally gets cancelled. But for the longer stops, if you are Indian citizen, you'll be definitely can get the lounges. And those who are citizens, as they have hotels outside, you can have hotels as well. So yeah, these are the options mainly from Brisbane at this stage.
That's wonderful that, the lounge and hotel ones are there, and you have explained why some people get lounge and some get hotel. So, that is wonderful that that's all happening. And I've also heard somewhere that the in-cabin food, or what they serve now, has changed a little bit as well with the easing of the restrictions. Well, moving on. So what are the options now, if you're planning on flying from Sydney?
So from Sydney, guys, we have two options, 2 charters available at this stage. Next one is, actually there is one on 27th of March as well, and today is 25th of March. I think we have a couple of seats left. So if it's really important for you to go, you have to rush to do your COVID test, and we can still book it for you. So you can call it straight away. After that, you have 17th of April and 24th of April. And also from Sydney, we have 2 to 3 flights a week flying to different destinations in India. So once again, if you want, you can take one of the charters, or you can go with Emirates as well.
Of course, moving on, we'd go straight to Melbourne, and of course, has been so lucky in many times as within our segment. I mean, so what is the flight status from Melbourne at this point in time?
So Maisie, as I always say, Melbourne is always being lucky, because Melbourne get the maximum flights, especially the charter flights. So at this stage, Melbourne got 4 charter flights available. Next up is 10th of April, 15th of April, 22nd of April, and 29th of April. Guys, if you want, you can take Emirates from there as well, especially those who are going to Hyderabad or going to Ahmedabad and different, or going with 2 stops, 1 stop flight at least. Then you might think of taking Emirates. And once again, we can apply a lounge or hotel for you if you're flying with Emirates.
And that is once again very good news. Well, as we know, we cover the length and breadth of Australia. So moving on, we'd like to go to South Australia. So what are the updates or the flight status from Adelaide at this point in time?
So from Adelaide, as there is no direct charter available, but if you want, you can take Emirates directly from Adelaide. And go to any part of India. And also, if you want, we can connect you from via Melbourne or Sydney as well in any of the charters which we discussed before. That's from 10th April till 29th of April.
Wow. Okay. So that's great. So moving on, going on to Western Australia. So what's the status of flights from Perth at this point in time?
Okay, so from Perth as well, guys, the same situation. So we can give you any flight via Melbourne or Sydney, and that's pretty much every week you can have in April. And also, if you want, we can give you one of the Emirates flight, and Emirates flights are going directly from there, and you have 2 to 3 options every week. So yeah, you have all the flights as well.
So there's quite a lot of options there. So that's wonderful news for travelers. But you have to make sure and check on all the status as well. Well, right now, of course, we know, and I saw something on social media. There's a lot of international students who are still stuck in India. But not only international students, there's others as well. There's many people who are probably stuck in Australia or in India, and they want to come back to Australia. So what's the status or any update for flights from India to Australia?
So happily, Meshi, there is no problem at this stage for people coming from India to Australia, though it's a little bit expensive option. But people can still take private options as well. So 8th of April, we got a private charter, that's the Indonesian charter coming. So people can take that option. Though right now there is no direct flight coming to Sydney or Melbourne, except the Air India flight, which people have to book themselves. But there are some private options coming up. And I have 8th of April, 23rd of April, 7th of May. Guys, just to give you a bit of idea as well about the airfares. From India to Australia. So if you take any of the government flights, the airfare starting on $1,500 to $2,000, but definitely not easy to take. Just register yourself with DFAT. But if you are planning to come early and you are not much bothered about the price, then to give you, then the private options are coming from $29.50 onward, which you can take. And a bit of update because I know I get a lot of calls that what's happening with the students and everything. Guys, recently I have seen a lot of people actually got exemptions as well, to my surprise. In last I got 50 people always that, ma'am, so luckily, we got the exemption. So I would say that there is a hope increasing, especially for temporary residents who are there. If one of your spouses are here, on that basis, you can probably try exemption. And those, so basically at this stage, guys, Australian citizens, PR, their spouses and kids, also those who have got exemption can fly back. So please, if you want, you can apply the exemption and you might still take any of those flights coming back. So there is no problem at this stage from India to Australia.
So there's some encouraging news, and of course, as you mentioned, that if they're not too worried about the price, and if your priority is to get here, you'd have to pay the price. So simple as that, but options are there. So that's wonderful. So, I mean, looking at all these things, and as on a weekly basis, you have been updating all our listeners and viewers on what the rules and regulations are and what are the travel tips for that week. And you have been constantly on a weekly basis updating everyone on that. So for people traveling at this point in time, what are your travel tips for this week?
Guys, those who are stuck in India, the main tip is as soon as you see the flight, as you know that the India to Australia flights sold out quite quickly. In most of the flights, there are hardly 30 to 50 passengers. So as soon as you decided, I would say just book it immediately, because sometime I got a passenger yesterday as well, and just within 20 minutes, the plane was sold out. So please, if you decided, just do it immediately. And if you have not registered with DFAT, please do so, because with DFAT, you will be keep getting all the updates as well about the latest flight. You can like our page as well, because we keep sharing all the updates. Today, in this particular episode, we told you that there are 3 flights, but these flights may sold out anytime. They have launched yesterday or day before. And just keep checking that what are the options from India to Australia and make it fast as possible. Second one, I would say, guys, please keep checking the state rules and regulations as well, and especially those who are coming from India or those who are flying interstate. We have already mentioned about the state rules and regulation early this episode, so which you can go through. But please keep checking that and to take all those entry passes, because it can be very difficult for you. And all charter flights and all private flights, remember, they all are 100% non-refundable, and they are very expensive as well. So you don't want to lose your money, and make sure you know it or check with anyone who is out there. Next up, guys, is please don't forget to take 2 copies of the self-declaration form or Indian arrival form, which we send it to you with every booking as well. And also your COVID test report. I have seen some passengers. In fact, I saw one passenger who has written the, that my report is negative, or has taken just a photo of that text he received from the center and just took the photocopy and attached it. And he was refused. And later on, at the airport, we had to, rush and get him the report, and then he could fly. So please remember that it has to be a proper report from either, the place you are doing or from a doctor. that it has to be proper report, the COVID task report I'm talking about, and you have to upload on the Air Suvidha self-reporting form. You have to upload that on the website. Otherwise, these days airlines won't let you go. So just remember that. Other one is about the infants, guys. I know there's a bit of confusion, because if you check the Air Suvidha website, it says you don't need the the COVID test for the infants. But when you fly from here, guys, Emirates or other charter flights also not allowing these days. If you don't take, each and every person has to take the COVID test. So please don't confuse with that. And also remember, the COVID test needs to be done 72 hours before your international flight, in case your flight gets delayed or something. So please just don't go on a border of 72 hours. For example, if your flight is departing 9 o'clock and you think there is a center which can do for you in night 9:30, please don't do that, or just stay in line 9 o'clock sharp, because sometimes flight just gets a little bit delayed as well because of weather as well. Let's say, the Sydney weather was very bad, and the last 2 days back, there were a couple of flights rescheduled. It was very difficult to manage because some people just did the COVID test on the borderline. So please give yourself some hours. We generally recommend everyone to, for example, if your flight is departing on 26th of March, then night, then do it 24th of March morning. So at least you are not in 72 hours border. You are somewhere in 60, 65 hours. So if there is any changes, then you won't be affected. So please don't forget that. And if you are planning to go from Australia or coming back from India and you can't see your preferred date, then please send us expression of interest, because that's also very important to know that who is planning to fly and when, so we can share to all our partners as well and make sure that they are the options for you to fly in future. And guys, if you like this episode, please share with all your family and friends. You can see this episode on Australian Indian Radio, Brisbane Indian Times, on Umesh profile, Tentex Media, all social media channels, on AusIndia Travel as well. We have already done 22 more episodes, which you can see in last 4-5 months. So you can see all the information up there as well. You can see the series of information as well, that how the travel is really upgrading and going forward. So if you like this episode, please share with your family and friends. It may be helpful to many. And you can see our reviews as well, that the very kind people who have shared their thoughts with us. And if you have flown with us, please let us know if there is any place for improvement. We definitely want to do that. And once again, want to tell you all that doesn't matter whether you have flown with us or not, doesn't matter whether you have booked with us or not. We are always there with you as a community. And if you have any question, feel free to message us. You can message on our hotline, which is 040-440-3264. You can jump on our website, www.ausindiatravel.com.au. There is an option as a callback option as well. If you can't call us, if you're in India, you can just send us a message and we'll give you a call back. And if you have any question, you can message on our WhatsApp or Facebook or anywhere, but you don't have to worry about the information, because we are in a world, guys, where there is plenty of information available. Sometimes it's confusing because there are so many things as well, but you can ask one of the person, and those who are in that field, you can message us and we are there to help you. And keep checking those Facebook groups as well. Australian stuck in India, Indian is stuck in Australia. These are the two groups I always recommend, which has plenty of information and current details as well. And you can, follow these all episodes as well. So I hope it was relevant and, you get some work out of it. And let us know if you have any more questions. Definitely happy to add in the next episode too.
And thank you very much for that update. And as you have mentioned, that all the episodes, the past episodes are there. And just for the ease of everyone, on Facebook it is a little bit hard, but on YouTube we will be now categorizing the sections so that people can go to the travel updates and scroll through and find all the episodes there. And even this episode, starting from this episode, all the episodes will now be standalone episodes, so that they're dedicated to that segment and to that topic. So it's wonderful. And one of the things that you've mentioned, that if people need travel tips and if they have not booked through your agency, that doesn't matter. You have been providing the travel tips. That's wonderful, and like to commend you on that kind of service that we are providing to the people, because many times people get very selfish. Oh, are you my client? Have you booked through me? If not, I'm not going to talk to you. No, but you're not doing that. So that is wonderful to see. And of course, thank you very much for all the updates, all the very up to the moment the information. And one of the things that you've said in the very beginning is that people should always check the information which is current at the time when we go live on air, but rules and regulations do change. So once again, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you, everyone. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, and stay safe. Thank you.
And of course, that is very important.